My name's Bob Sakamura, and I'm the president of the college. And, okay, no, that's too terrible. All right. My name's Michael Broom. I work for one of our PASS centers here. I'm the director of testing and tutoring, and I'm here to talk to you about how to compute your GPA. Okay, I'm ready. All right, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Michael Broom, and I'm here to talk to you about how to compute your GPA. This is one of our PASS seminar series. Computing GPA, I was putting together some stuff the other day about this, and one of my tutors, David, actually said, why would I need to know how to do that? And because it just says it on my transcript. So why do I need to know this, right? And so I thought I'd talk a little bit about why. One is you can forecast things. The automatic GPA computing thingy that's built into my HC is not actually going to compute what you're expecting to make for this class. Your midterm grades aren't calculated in there. If you're an athlete or something like that, you're on a scholarship where you need a certain GPA, then you may need to know that in advance. You can also determine what you need if there's a GPA you're shooting for. Then the formula that I'm gonna show you is gonna help you decide on what you're gonna need to get your next semester so that you can raise your GPA to the required amount. The last thing is filling out applications. Now this one seems a little strange, but I will say that the way that we compute GPA here in Big Spring, at Howard College, the way that we compute our GPAs is that we include developmental as well as college level classes, and we include all your classes. Now, most of that probably seems like it makes sense, but there are going to be applications that you might need to fill out where they don't want your developmental GPA in there with the rest of it. There are also schools where you're going to have to submit more specific GPAs. If you're applying to a certain like engineering program, they may not really care so much how you did on your English class, but they're going to want to know how you did on your math and your physics classes. Okay, so that's the main thing. First, let's look at the key. The key consists of essentially what number is each letter worth. If you get an A, it's worth 4 points. If you get a B, it's worth 3. C, it's worth 2. D is 1. Of course, F is worth 0, right? And W's and P's are both omitted. We don't give out many P's here, but you may transfer in something like a CLEP test, and that's just a pass or fail thing. Any classes that we offer that are pass or fail based, those don't really affect your GPA one either way. So that's okay. So we're going to start off with the simple formula. The simple formula here is the average is equal to the points earned divided by the points possible. The problem with this one is that it's too vague to really help us. It's not very useful. We're going to go on to the real formula. This is the fun one. Okay, so your average is equal to, I'm going to read this aloud for you. It's the sum of your grades times your hours divided by the sums of your hours. Now, this symbol in here might be a little confusing. This one requires a little bit of backstory, but essentially it's about that simple. That symbol that we see there, who here has taken statistics? Nobody. Okay. So it comes up in your stats classes. So when you take it, you'll see this. But essentially, this is a Greek letter. It's sigma, and the Greek sigma is short for sum. Okay. Do we know how to sum things? Yeah. So I have an example of a rather silly version of this. If x is this list of numbers, 1, 3, 2, and 5, then the sum of x is just 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5, which at that point we know how to add, right? And so we can add them. All right. So now we're going to compute a GPA. We're going to do this one by hand. This is Beta's first semester. She's enrolled in these courses. Beta's a hard worker. Calculus 1, Choir, Composition 1, and Public Speaking. All right. Now, she looks at a schedule. She sees that some of these classes are worth different numbers of hours. So she finds that out. She discovers that Calculus is 4 credit hours. Choir is only 1. Comp and Public Speaking are both 3 credit hours. Okay, these are different weights for the classes. Essentially what it comes down to is that an A in Choir is going to end up not meaning as much towards your total GPA as an A would in Calculus. Now her grades are still coming. But she looks at her midterm grades, she looks at her cumulative averages, and she does a little bit of math, and she discovers that so far she's got an A, a C, a B, and an A. So she wants to know what her GPA is going to be at the end of this semester. Well, we look at the key, and we convert those into their number counterparts. Essentially, the highest it gets is 4, so A is a 4, and then it goes down one at a time. Then we sit down to do some actual math. Okay, we're going to start. You can see that the formula is on the top of the slide. We're going to start by computing the stuff on the bottom, mostly because it's a simpler looking formula. The stuff on the bottom essentially is just add up the total number of hours. So we should be able to do that. This is 4 hours for calculus, 1 hour for choir, 3 for comp, and 3 for public speaking. We add all of those up, we get an 11. She forgot to enroll full time, but she's almost there. Now she's going to try to take out the numerator. The numerator involves multiplication and addition, and essentially we're just multiplying each credit hour times each letter. So 4 times 4 is the 4 credit hours at the value of A, which is 4. Next we have our choir, which is a C, which gives us 2 points, but times only 1 credit. Then we add on our 3 times 3 and our 4 times 3. We add all this up, and it gives us a 39. Now, that would be an excellent GPA, but we still have to do some division. We essentially put the top on the top, the bottom on the bottom. We get 39 over 11. It looks like Beta has a 3.55. So that's her GPA that she's looking up. Not too bad, Beta. All right. Okay. So now let's get it to the more interesting one. Now this we could do by hand. Susan here, I don't know why I make up silly names, but Susan is considered applying to A&M's bio grad program, and she needs to see if her in-major GPA is high enough. She's been entering her grades into a little spreadsheet. Who here has used Microsoft Excel before? Cool. All right, the other two of you, you'll never forget your first time. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up her spreadsheet. But essentially, we start off by looking at her Comp 1, her Comp 2, history classes, literature classes. So these are all the different classes she's taken. She's got different grades on each of these, right? And then she also has the ones that are actually part of her major. Now, if she's planning on going to a biology program, what classes do we think they're going to care about mostly? Would be her biology classes. Yeah. So, and then we've got some math and some other random stuff. Now, I'm going to show you how to actually just use, once we've got it listed in our table, it's pretty straightforward to compute the GPA. We have the list of hours. We have the list of points, which is essentially, once again, an A corresponds to 4 points. A B is 3 points. A D is... I skipped one so that you'd be wrong. No, I'm just kidding. A D is 1, and yeah, you're right. A C is 2. So so that's what our points are. Now we need to compute the product of these two things, the hours times the points. We just start by typing equal sign, hours times points. Now, at this point, 3 times 2, most of us could have probably done it okay in our heads. This doesn't seem very efficient. But the reason we're using something like Excel for this is so that I can just grab the edge of this. We can see that the cursor changes a little bit, scroll all the way down, and essentially Excel is going to copy this formula, but adjust it so that it actually matches each row. All right, so this is all of those products. We see a couple of zeros in here, right? This is 0 because there's nothing to the left of it, and there's another 0 underneath. So we can use this to compute her overall GPA, though, can't we? Now, what would her overall GPA be? What was our formula? We add up this times stuff, and we divide by the number of hours. So we need the sums of both of these, okay? We'll just write, we go over here to this column where the left column was the column that had our hours, and we're just going to hit the auto sum button. It's going to complain a little bit because it's only trying to sum the things right above it, but we just have to change this to say exactly what the starting point is, and then copy the exact same formula once again to the last column. These are the products. Her overall GPA ends up being equal to, well, we said it's the, yikes, it's the numerator, which is the sum of the products, divided by the sums of the hours. She's got a 3.04. Not too bad. What letter is that going to be? B. Yeah, so she's got kind of a B average. That's pretty good. But if she's going to make her life's work studying stuff, then I don't know if this is going to be enough for her to get into her grad program. But once again, they care most of all about her biology classes. So we can go ahead and note that, well, again, a B is her is her cumulative GPA. Now how are we going to compute the in-major GPA? Well, that's this block of classes. All we have to do is click auto sum, hit enter. Looks like 31 hours. Auto sum again. Looks like 109 points. And then we just put that 109 and divide it by the 31, and we hit enter. 3.5. That's a bit better. That's like halfway between an A and a B. So that ends up being her in-major GPA. On her application, when she's applying for A&M, they're going to need her to write this, as well as send along her transcript. So she does that. She gets in. She ends up, I don't know what she does. She cures cancer, and we're all happy. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Well, that's how to compute your GPA. That's all we've got. So, thank you very much. This is Michael. See our future past seminars. The next one is going to be in a couple of weeks, and it's about something interesting. Thank you. This has been Michael Broom with the Past Center. This has been Michael Broom. We've been talking about computing your GPA. Thank you. Good luck on all of your studies.